I'm going to resign this week. I've made up my mind. You have to understand I can't keep on living like this, anonymously like this anymore. Paper pusher number 3 out of 4. I have the strength to fight, to be someone. All I've lacked is opportunity, and now I found it.
Well, maybe you're in too much of a hurry. It would be better if we...
What really disturbs me is your attitude. You should motivate me, encourage me.
Antonio, remember, you've already tried these types of adventures, and they've always left you unemployed and with nothing.
But don't think I regret it. On the contrary, I have experience now. I'm going to take advantage of it.
And will we have to postpone the wedding?
For a little while. In exchange, I will be able to offer you much more than I could under the current circumstances.
But I don't ask for anything.
But you deserve everything.
Well, in order to...
The matter is almost settled. Mr. Cabo has the venture capital that is needed to finance the business. He's a wealthy man, and he's excited about my plan. Okay, naturally, starting out, there will be some difficulties. But according to my calculations, within 30 days, the factory will start to produce, and in 6 months, the product will be exported.
Well, don't smoke so much.
Can't you see I'm excited? Don't you know what my life is going to be? My name on everyone's lips. My reputation as an entrepreneur. I will be the center of financial activity, and happiness will come because I will be someone.
And I will be proud of you.
Thank you, my love.
And will you love me then as you do now?
More! Much more!
Antonio, I'm afraid.
Of what?
I don't know. Oh, of that future so bright, so unexpected. I can't imagine it because it blinds me, and because I'll feel like a stranger without knowing how much I'd be able to adapt to it.
What an absurd concern. Everything will seem natural and easy.
Antonio, think about it. Wouldn't it be better to wait?
What?
Well, maybe with me by your side to help and support you.
But don't you see the opportunity is presenting itself now? If I don't go with Mr. Cabo, who can guarantee that tomorrow there will be somebody economically capable of financing the business and who has faith in it? No, let's not talk about this anymore. A moment ago, I was able to infuse a little bit of my enthusiasm into you, and now, I wish you were more like Blanca. A true cheerleader. Someone who is involved in her fiance's ambitions, and even mine. Haven't you seen how she encourages Ricardo to take on new things and look for ways to get ahead? And even me. How many times has she truly encouraged me to abandon the office and throw myself into risky but promising businesses? Why won't you take that faith?
My temperament is very different.
Don't you believe in me?
You know very well that I do. But I love you too much to accept you making yourself vulnerable that way.
I have the strength to take on these challenges.
Oh, please, God. Allow this to pan out well.
I have to go now, Clarita. It's time for my meeting with Mr. Cabo. Do you want me to take you home?
No. Leave me here a little longer.
I'll be over tomorrow early. See you then.
Well, see you tomorrow. Love me lots.
If only he thought more about you and less about himself.
Well, if... What? What is this? Who are you?
Oh, don't be afraid, miss. I'm a friend. I'm an old friend of yours.
A friend?
Yes. You don't recognize me? Oh, I have an unfamiliar face. Your surprise is understandable.
Forgive me, sir.
We haven't seen each other in many years. When you were young, we were almost inseparable. We played together day and night.
Then you're... Juan!
No?
Well, when I was little, I had a friend named Juan, and we played together every day.
Yes. Well, with Juan and with me.
Huh?
Yes, you had a big hoop, and you would roll it down the street. And I gave you a bigger push so that you would run and your little legs would grow strong. See, then I was the slope of that street. You had a paper doll that you dressed and undressed continually, and so she would always stay clean. You sank her on the pool on the patio. I was the clean water. Do you remember that anxious fall you had for wanting to hang on the fragile clothesline next to the wet laundry? But it wasn't serious. I was the soft grass that cushioned your fall.
Sir,
You don't remember?
But
You cried a lot. Oh, because of the shock, of course. Because it didn't really hurt.
Yes. Yes, it was the shock. I was afraid of Mama scolding.
Mama scolding! Well, fortunately, I arrived just in time. And that time, I came very well disguised as a coal man. Hello, ma'am, would you like to buy some coal? How much is it? Oh, it's $5 a load. Well, that's not bad. And eventually, your mom forgot about the scolding.
Yes, she forgot.
And now if he only thought more about you and less about himself.
But, sir, who are you?
Gonna oblige me to introduce myself, miss. I am Complemento.
What?
Complemento.
Complemento.
Keep on laughing. Has anyone ever told you that you laugh like an angel?
Thank you. I'm a very serious person, and I can't be seen talking like this with someone I don't know.
You don't know me? In our history since childhood.
Well, it is true, but how do you know it?
Miss, what is your name?
Clara.
Naturally, Clara. They couldn't call you anything else with that face full of light, Clara. Haven't you thought that every little girl had paper dolls, played with big hoops, fell while trying to reach the clothesline?
You didn't know me.
Yes, I did. Like I knew all of them.
Well, why do you make fun of me?
Me? Ah, what an offense.
Oh, goodbye, sir.
Wait, you're leaving? Why?
Well, I shouldn't have asked.
No, don't go. I beg you. I want to tell you something very important.
Well, for God's sakes, who are you?
Promise not to laugh?
Yes.
Complemento.
Again?
I'm Complemento. Every time. All the time. Of course that's not my first name, but it's what my friends call me. And I like it so much that if it weren't for the thousands of difficulties that come with legally changing it, I would have.
Fine. Mr. Complemento. And what do you do?
Compliment, miss.
You keep mocking
I
me.
am telling you the truth. My job is this, to be what others are not. I don't do anything and I'm worthless, but in the shadow of others, I'm indispensable. I'm super useful, irreplaceable. Would you be willing to do me a favor? Just one.
I'd be happy to.
Let me help you
With what?
with the troubles of the heart that you're suffering from.
You heard my conversation with Antonio.
Oh, yeah. It was unintentional at first, but later I felt obliged. My duty demanded the most diligent attention. And for the rest, I'm used to hearing everything that should not be heard.
Oh, well, nice job you have.
But so useful. Without me, so many misfortunes would have happened. I am the youngest in the family of 5 boys. You have no idea.
Your parents would have endured a lot.
No. After the 3rd child, parents ignore the rest. It's a matter of habit. But to be the 5th, all children's games require an odd number, so that power isn't balanced, and justice isn't driven away by the whimsy of innocence. My 4 brothers always saw me as a gift sent from heaven, to be the monkey in the middle. Essential in their antics, the victim of their faults, consolation in their apologies. Little by little, I grew accustomed to being a compliment. Each one of them needed me. They were incomplete without me. And later, when I had to choose a profession, I naturally embraced what was most in line with my purpose.
Oh, I know. You studied medicine.
No, miss. I became a typographer.
Ah.
You're young, you don't understand. The typographer, Clara, is the one who must interpret. He must edit, correct, smooth out, shade, clarify the thoughts of others. From the little girl writing an award-winning essay that gets published in the school newspaper, to the statesman, to the nationalist, to the financier who throws the flow of his thoughts to the press. Everyone must go through the smart and sensitive fingers of the typographer, who has to palpate the idea, like a rough and coarse object, to soften it, to polish it, to complement it.
They're dense?
They're incomplete.
Is that right?
So like Antonio, your fiance, like you, like all of us,
You too?
most of all. Everyone else has the consolation of my help but me. As I've already said, alone I am worthless. Would you be willing to do me a favor? Would
Yeah.
you be willing to let me help you?
With what?
To win your fiance back. He's gotten carried away with a crass economic fantasy.
Well, why would you help me?
It's ego, miss. When one has grown accustomed to being indispensable, cannot resign himself to not being needed.
How are you going to help me?
It's very difficult to explain, but it's essential that you believe in me. I promise you a resounding success. If you want, I can show you my many glowing records, like this one. This is from a senator. He was almost defeated, but I won him the election. Look at what it says. Thanks to Complemento, I've obtained the greatest triumph of my life. May the people recognize my merits and elect me the spokesperson in the Senate of the Republic. It's beautiful, right? Or this one from a rural school teacher. Like dew is to the flower, Complemento is the supreme good for my soul. And don't think anything ugly. The principal merely gave her a favorable review. Or this one,
yes.
or this one.
Yes, I see you're not short on recommendations.
Well, I have more at home. I can bring them to you. Will you take me into your service?
But
Okay, you're still not convinced. I will bring you more recommendations. No. I ask that you put me to the test. That's the best.
How?
If I give you a method that will bring your fiance back to the hard realities of life when he goes off to his pie in the sky, will you believe me?
Well, what's the method?
You like to sing, right?
Oh, yes, but I have a really bad voice.
Even better.
What?
Great. You must know some current songs, don't you?
Well, yes, a few.
Very popular ones. The kind musicians write while chewing gum. Well then, when Antonio has his head in the clouds, start crooning one of those absent-mindedly. You'll see the results. It never fails. There's nothing like catchy melodies for feeling the weight of daily toil and the incurable human condition.
Oh, a popular song like this. Bésame, bésame mucho.
Exactly. Test it and tell me how it goes.
Do you really think I'll be able to win him back with this?
I beg you, not confuse me for a saint to perform miracles, or a medicine man for a quick cure. I give you this method for immediate action, as a stimulant. But the patient requires long treatment to fully eradicate that disease.
So you are a doctor?
No, but I have typeset many medical books. So now tell me, will you put me to the test?
Yes, Mr. Complemento. How much will this work cost?
My work. If you weren't so beautiful, I'd do it for free. But that could bring me some sentimental complications that I must alleviate by the means of a stipend. 5 cents a month. Does that sound good?
And this is gonna last months?
No. If it lasts 15 days, for example, it costs you 2.5 cents.
Well, that's cheap.
Not quite. You have to add meals, a bed, laundry.
For who?
For me. I must live in your house for a few days. It's essential.
Do you really think that's gonna happen?
I repeat, it's essential. We'll find a way. You have a brother, don't you?
Ricardo.
That's right, Ricardo. Oh, we were such great friends, and when we moved apart from each other, our bond was so strong that we remained pen pals.
Then you're Enrique Gutierrez.
Do you know this Enrique Gutierrez? Other than your brother, does your family know him?
Well, no, but Ricardo has told us a lot about him.
Then I am Enrique Gutierrez.
What do you mean then?
Well, given the happy circumstances that you've noted, that nobody in your house knows this gentleman, that he's your brother's friend and he's absent, then I am obligated to be Enrique Gutierrez.
Oh, the things you say.
I trust that he's proper, educated, without vice. Remember that I enjoy a very respectable reputation.
Oh, please, sir, explain yourself.
Impossible. I am Enrique Gutierrez. Your brother wrote to me, inviting me to stay in your house.
Well, yes, he is always inviting him.
But I haven't been able to accept because I'm a very busy man.
Well, it seems that you have many clients and numerous court cases.
I'm a corporate lawyer. And as I've said, this is why I've had to decline. I now am enjoying some well-earned vacation time, and I wrote to Ricardo telling him about my visit, but you can't count on the telegraph service. Most likely it never arrived.
Well, no, he hasn't received anything otherwise.
Naturally, otherwise he wouldn't have left. But since I'm already here, you all will insist that I stay. Isn't that true?
Oh, well, yes, I'll notify Ricardo.
Well, don't you see, Clarita, to you I am complemento, but to the others in your house,
I get it! But the way you talk in such a serious tone. It's hard to tell when you're making things up and telling the truth.
oh, bravo, you're already understanding me. I'm a cradle between the serious and the laughable, to prevent one from becoming tragic and the other ridiculous.
Mr. Complemento, I am willing to hire you.
No.
Yes!
No,
yes.
this adventure is too transcendent to be based on a frivolous impulse. Take some time to think about it. Meditate on it.
But just a moment ago you were begging me.
Miss, I am in my role. When you were indecisive, I had to encourage you, but now that you are hasty, I must preach calmness.
Oh.
Enrique Gutierrez. I will be good in this character. I will be Ricardo's friend, and my relations with the family will have a diaphanous tint of a long-standing friendship, thanks to the good word of an enthusiastic young man. What did your brother say about me?
Well, if you don't know.
Forget that I'm Enrique Gutierrez.
He's always talking about your mischief in college, how you were terrible and you would always.
Don't remind me of that difficult time. How much I suffered with Enrique. Thousands of times I was the creaking door that forewarned the arrival of the dean. Or I was a vivacious girl who turned the head of the professor so that he always remained good-natured on exams. Or the benign but persistent fever that allowed for some extraordinary time off. It's hard to find excuses for the faults of college students. They're so careless, nobody can forgive them. The man is pious for evil and offers no shelter for mischief.
We've been talking a very long time.
We're old friends by now. Seriously this time.
Yes. Yes, you're very nice.
Thank you. So, tell me what you told me of before. Will you take me into your service?
Yes, Enrique.
Ricardo will be so upset when he learns that I was here and he wasn't able to see me.
No, poor guy.
and don't forget, I'm coming on the first morning train. It's gonna be such a big surprise and such preparations. You'll have to run and tidy up the house, buy flowers, prepare the guest room.
I'll dress accordingly.
No, don't get yourself ready. It's so early.
With no makeup?
It's essential.
And Antonio?
What time should he go see you?
At 5.
You'll introduce me to him then.
Oh, I'd be happy to. Oh, he's adorable, isn't he?
He's a good guy.
And he loves me. He's so noble, so good, so simple-hearted.
Oh yeah? It sounds complicated.
Well, how so?
I'm just speaking professionally.
I'm happy to be with a man like that.
Or are we still talking about Antonio?
Naturally.
Yes, naturally.
He is a perfect man.
So is my work here done?
No, not at all, not at all.
Go on dreaming.
Such gentleness in his voice. What sweetness in his gaze. His intelligence is staggering. He will be a great man, and everyone will admire him, and I will hold his side with such pride like a... Why are you whistling that?
It's getting late. The park is filling up with people. Let the lovers take a walk before night falls. Look at the wet nurses rushing their little ones home because the evening dew might cause them harm. The playful little boys return from class, and of course they've taken the longest path back from boarding school. At this hour, the city breathes through the lungs of this park. A woman dreams. You. Peek out over the balcony of this moment. It's a sublime spectacle. Life in pieces is woven together by the subtle thread of conformity. This is one of the saddest moments for me. No one is unhappy. No one needs me.
I do.
Well, not now, later, when you redeem the good from the heartache.
Antonio.
Yes, call to him. Believe in him, but put your faith in me. Continue your state of love, because the state of love is like a state of grace. It demands an act of faith and a miracle of hope. And now if only he thought less about himself and more about you.
I love him so much.
Always him?
Yes. Him.
Enrique Gutierrez will be coming on the first morning train. Try to forget it.
Forget it.
Yes, he will surprise you without your makeup on. Clarita, what are your parents' names?
Joaquin and Alicia.
And their last names?
Bermudez.
I'll see you early tomorrow. Where do you live?
15 Main Street.
Oh, near here. Goodbye.
Are you leaving?
No, are you?
Not yet.
15 Main Street. Run, it's getting late. Alicia will be worried.
Oh, but I
And
just...
Mr. Joaquin has just gotten home from work and he's sitting in his favorite recliner reading the evening news. He's called out to you, Clarita.
Well, surely...
What will the neighbors say when they see you come home alone so late?
Yes.
Do you hear that? The silence is coming like a villain.
I'm going.
Oh, and on the corner, you'll find a guard. Greet him graciously so that he watches you down that dark street.
Goodbye, Enrique.
I'll see you tomorrow. Tonight will be the last night. Why don't they put me fluffy cushions on these pillows? Makes it so poor for sleep. So poor.
How long are you going to keep reading that newspaper, Enrique?
I'm not reading it, Clarita. I'm imagining how I would have composed the pages.
And what would you have done?
This obituary. I would have put it here at the foot of the crime report. And this perfume ad, I would have located that to the left, near the society column.
Why?
To create a certain harmony with the smells.
The smells.
Yes. In a newspaper, the smell of the ideas is very important.
Today you are more facetious than ever.
I'm being truthful. Experience it for yourself. Read this article about a death, and you will sense the smell of death. Or read about this religious festival, and you will be imbued with incense.
I prefer the smell of the garden, thank you. I'm gonna go water the flowers. Do you care to join me?
No, I won't go, but I will ask that you stay a few minutes.
Gladly.
Are you happy with me?
Oh, very much so.
You don't regret my visit at all?
No, I'm eternally grateful.
Thank you. And any news about Ricardo?
Oh, he's coming on Tuesday.
Then I will leave Monday.
Why?
But that day, Enrique Gutierrez will disappear.
I wish Ricardo would delay a few more days.
You're very kind, Clara.
May I go now?
Yes, I'll see you later.
I hope to find you right here when I return.
Certainly.
Good morning. I didn't know you were here.
Well, I expected you.
Me?
Yes, you.
How did you know I would come now?
Well, I know many things, miss, and I guess the rest.
And why did you wait for me?
I want to ask you a question.
Very well. I'm listening.
Would you be happy to know that I am leaving today?
You're leaving. Honestly, I don't like it or dislike it.
You're completely indifferent.
Yes.
No.
What are you imagining?
Imagining? Nothing. I know you're not indifferent. On the contrary, the news is overwhelming.
You exaggerate.
Be frank. Isn't it true that I am profoundly unfriendly?
No.
Oh, a denial as shaky as that is the equivalent to a yes.
You're a good friend of Ricardo's. That's enough for you to deserve some respect.
I'm also a friend of Clara and Antonio's.
I'm not a part of the family yet, so you shouldn't count me in your list of conquests.
Conquest?
Yes, that's the word. It seems your job is to collect friendships and sympathies. You pride yourself on them like a soldier does his triumphs of war.
Well, that comparison is not very complimentary. The triumphs make up the most meager chapter in the life of a soldier.
Don't think you're going to entangle me in a discussion. I've made myself clear.
Perfectly. And you've never thought that this vivid repulsion I inspire was of my own design to hinder your work?
Please explain.
Mr. Joaquin Bermudez has a blind faith in his son, Ricardo. And if he has chosen Miss Blanca as his fiancée, it must be because she is the most perfect and worthy of all women. So you can imagine the extent of your influence over Ricardo's father.
So?
Mr. Joaquin Bermudez is a good man with a little wealth thanks to many years of hard work. An excellent person, but lacking certainty and convinced of his own importance. On the other hand, Antonio Enciso is a dreamer. He wants to start large-scale businesses with the help of his future father-in-law's investment, since what's been offered by a hasty partner isn't enough. So, I've asked myself, what could possibly be the powerful reason that would prompt Miss Blanca to advise Mr. Bermudez to risk what little credit he has on Antonio's wildly fanciful business?
I don't understand a word of your fiction.
If it has tragic flaws, look instead for its clarity. Your love for Ricardo runs so deep that you're inclined to sacrifice him if Antonio's success comes along first.
What an awful thing to say. How am I to blame if Mr. Joaquin helps Antonio?
That hasn't happened yet.
And Clarita, hasn't she told her father 1,000 times in front of you to support her fiancé's idea?
Yes, but Clarita's in love. And love, or ambition, are the only reasons that can explain such a crazy idea. The only reasons.
How do you conclude?
That you are an enchanting and dangerous woman.
Thanks a lot.
Those are two invaluable traits.
Are the gallantry starting?
Well, the most stubborn opposition can turn into the most irresistible attraction.
And you hope that I'll end up believing you have some
You're
secret way of being
fascinating.
nice.
I am Ricardo's most loyal friend.
You didn't have to remind me.
Timing seemed right.
Don't you have anything else to tell me?
Yes. That I am also close friends with Antonio Enciso.
That interests Clarita.
And ultimately, I want to be your friend.
What have I done to be worthy of that honor?
Well, you feel the disgust I inspire.
My feelings toward you don't have that much intensity.
That's too bad. In any case, I believe we're going to help each other. Oh, before I forget, I'm not leaving tomorrow. I'm staying right here until Monday.
Then we'll have time to resume this very interesting conversation. Is Clarita in the garden?
Yes.
If you'll excuse me, I'm going to go look for her.
This talk we've started many times before will finally have a happy ending for the both of us.
I doubt that. Goodbye.
Beautiful day, isn't it, Mr. Gutierrez?
Gorgeous, ma'am.
Oh, don't get up. I've come alone to check if everything in this room is in order. The maids have such little regard for the furniture arrangements.
A woman's work is never done, is it?
As always, we women get married, then become indentured servants.
Such a hard task.
You have no idea. I'm so tired.
Well, sit down a minute.
No, I have very many things to check on.
I haven't seen Mr. Joaquin today.
He left very early. He had an urgent appointment.
Business, no doubt?
I don't know. I have very little interest in his business affairs.
Yes.
I'm going, Mr. Gutierrez. You were lost in your newspaper, and I have very many things to work on. Yes, later we'll relax
Later,
and
yes.
visit.
This armchair is most comfortable, Doña Alicia. Have a seat.
Oh, impossible.
Like this. There you go. Isn't it true that it's most comfortable?
But I have so very much
And
important
I will
to do.
settle into this armchair by your side. Now let's see, you wanted to...
Me?
Make an effort, I'm sure you wanted to tell me something.
Well,
I'm listening.
Mr. Gutierrez, you're a man of great experience. You understand business thoroughly. I don't understand it. It's about Antonio. I love that young man very much and believe that Clarito will be happy by his side. But I don't know why he seems to sabotage himself with impatience. He's not satisfied with what he is.
The desire to excel is a very noble motive, madam.
Why don't you advise him? He could marry and later
In your scenario, am I called to give advice to Antonio?
I've noticed you paid special attention to him and
I wish I had your gray hair. It is extremely beautiful. Congratulations on having such captivating tresses.
Mr. Gutierrez, I'm being very serious.
As am I. In a 24-hour period, I spend 15 minutes thinking about Antonio Enciso. That proportion is high, don't you think?
And have you already spoken to him?
No. Hey, may I borrow your duster? It seems that they've left a little bit of dust on the table.
Oh, these girls never do a good job. Look at the carpet, it's terrible.
And that glass, can you see from there, that little streak in the left corner?
Yes, it's awful. Oh, it's a shame.
Allow me, I'll help you out. It is most cozy, isn't it?
The entry to the living room is filthy. I'll get the broom.
We'll wait for you here.
I'll come back later.
And don't work yourself too hard.
Does the studious Dr. Gutierrez give us permission to enter?
What a handsome trio you three make.
Why don't you take our picture?
Because I hate fixed images.
Mr. Gutierrez is in love with fantasy and variation.
If you only knew how right you were.
I'll give you some good news, Enrique. I'm solving the problem that we talked about. I told my boss about my ideas, or rather, our ideas, and he liked them.
That makes me so happy.
Yes. I found the data that was missing. I'll start writing the report this afternoon, and I'll bring it tomorrow so we can talk it through.
And naturally, you have decided to postpone turning in your resignation?
For a while, till I finish writing the report.
Yes. Well, I've given the matter some thought. I believe that once a solution is found, the same principles can be applied to other serious problems in your department's purview.
I was thinking the same thing. I talked to one of my coworkers and asked him to do a memo on the pending deals.
Well done.
Yeah.
Are you two going to continue this very interesting conversation?
No. Well, are the flowers very beautiful today?
Precious! Clarita, I received a letter from Ricardo.
Oh, is he coming on Tuesday?
Yes.
Well, I suppose you've kept your promise not to tell him anything about Enrique's visit.
Yes, but I haven't finished sorting out what you're up to.
Oh, nothing could be more natural. Ricardo needs rest. If he knew that Enrique was here, he'd come immediately.
Well, I never set out to study the matter. I just wasn't interested.
Huh. That's such a pity. Solving those problems carves out a great position for yourself.
You think so?
I know so. You have star talent, but in reality you lack method. And there are very few people who have it.
Well, those of us who are born entrepreneurs can dedicate ourselves to just one thing and must continually be producing ideas.
That's the only unproductive job. Ideas don't acquire value through enunciation, but by putting them into practice. So, you tell me.
Do you have experience in that respect?
Yes. Yes, I received it long ago, before organizing my professional life.
I'd like to tell you about the project we were discussing.
Tell me.
Okay. So the performance of this new industry will be outstanding according to verified data. Okay? In my vision, a simple investment of $30,000 would return high profits in 2 months. And capitalizing that interest would double the sum in no time. Now, once manufacturing begins, the distribution could be done with a co-op of drivers, and the owners of the vehicles would become equal shareholders of the company. Aren't you even paying attention to me?
Yes. The owners of the vehicles will become shareholders.
That's the first time I've heard you whistle.
It's one of my many passions.
I'd like to be more like you.
God won't allow it.
Why not?
Well, have you ever felt martyred by loneliness?
By loneliness? Yes, very often.
But with a crazy desire to have someone to exchange ideas with, who you can relate your sorrows and your illusions to, someone you can confide in.
Yes. In cases like that, my only consolation is Clara.
But the loneliness in the middle of the night, or a busy street, or a noisy cafe, or in conversations with narrow-minded friends
Who don't know what you're living on the inside.
who don't know themselves and live only on the outside, as if they had a borrowed soul.
Those are moments of terrible despair.
All projects and illusions die. That's when one misses a compliment.
A loving and understanding woman.
Maybe. Here, let's get back to the ladies. It's not very gallant to leave them waiting like this.
Oh, Antonio, may I fix your tie? It's a bit crooked.
Yeah, thank you. You changed your hair. It looks beautiful.
Oh, I was surprised you hadn't noticed.
Oh, forgive me.
You haven't told me you love me today.
Words can no longer describe the strength of my love.
Is it more than yesterday?
Well, now I realize that I didn't cherish you yesterday.
Antonio is abandoning his plans for independence.
Yes?
Yes. He's taking great interest in his office work.
Yes, he's very enthusiastic.
Antonio's a good guy. Timid with clipped wings. He's not like my friend Ricardo. You have a bold and very intelligent boyfriend.
Breathtakingly talented.
Unfortunately, he lives in a very narrow-minded environment.
Yes, I've tried to remove him from this atmosphere.
I repeat what is said, you are a dangerous and fascinating woman.
Such insistence!
Does it bother you?
Very much to the contrary. I'm flattered.
You know, I've always believed that certain women, undoubtedly superior, would either be the eternal damnation or redemption of certain men.
Like who?
Like you and I.
You are forgetting your friendship with Ricardo Bermudez.
In the hierarchy of feelings, love prevails over friendship.
Are you sure that Antonio has abandoned his plans?
Enrique Gutierrez is not one to turn his back on a friend, especially when she's an adorable woman.
Ricardo is coming Tuesday.
Do you like red roses? When I arrive home on Monday, I'll send you 1,000 bouquets, so that each petal on every one of those roses repeats the message that is now trembling on my lips.
A while ago when I entered,
They were the last arguments of the friend versus the lover.
You disgust me.
As long as you keep feeling such passion, I'll have hope.
Stop talking to me, I beg you.
Why? Within a few minutes, you'd have to call me.
Me? How mistaken you are.
You have sought the road to ambition for such a long time, because it is the only path that will lead you to love. You're too smart to turn back now.
I think you're overconfident.
I defend what's mine.
Yours.
Yes. If anyone wants to fight me over you, they'll have to overcome irresistible feelings of loyalty and trample over a past of faithful friendship, as I have. With infamy comes greatness.
You're leaving Monday?
That depends on a letter from you to Ricardo.
A letter.
Yes. A letter breaking the ties that grow weaker every day and relieve me of greeting him.
How ironic.
I can just imagine what we'll do together, you and I. My audacity alongside your ambition. My talent driven by your energy.
Just a few minutes ago, you accused me of the darkest conspiracy.
That wasn't an accusation. I was merely recognizing your merits.
What you're doing is monstrous.
What does it matter? We both know that we are above convention.
Why should I believe you now if you spoke to me before saying the opposite with equal conviction?
It was the necessary prologue to my declaration.
You have a unique way of expressing your affection. Start with an insult.
See, these characters surrounding us are so small and silly.
What happened to the loyalty you mentioned?
I offered it to your beauty.
And the self-control you had boasted so much about?
Your gaze burned it.
Is that too crude a trap?
Right now, you're not saying what you truly feel.
You're mistaken.
Will you write the letter to Ricardo?
And what would Clara say?
Why are you trying to fool yourself? I feel that we have grown very close and nothing and no one can separate us now.
Speak to me in that tone. Antonio and Clara are watching.
They can't hear us. They live in a very different world.
Will you come this afternoon for tea at the house?
I've already decided to go without you inviting me.
Do you think it's necessary to write the letter?
Absolutely. It is the last concession to the last concession to the cries of my conscience.
See you later. You're a scoundrel!
Goodbye, my love.
Bye! Clarita, don't forget this afternoon I'm having you over to my house.
Oh, we're looking forward to it.
See you soon, Blanca.
Look at Enrique. He's completely lost in thought.
He's forgotten about us.
Enrique! Enrique!
Oh, forgive me.
What are you thinking about?
Isn't it true that good taste needs to be carefully cultivated and subjected to the test of vulgarity as little as possible?
I don't understand a word.
You do that very well.
What's wrong?
I'm coming out of the mire of a crisis.
What?
No, nothing. I was just mentally correcting a famous novel.
Well, you're coming with us to Blanca's this afternoon, right?
Of course. She invited me very specifically.
Such fatigue, my darling.
Oh, Mom, take a rest.
The recliner is still here.
Mr. Gutierrez, we have to continue our chat.
Whenever you like.
Oh, Miss Alicia, remember you wanted to ask him to tell you about that farce that made you laugh so much?
I'd forgotten. You have to tell us the story yourself. Ricardo told it to us countless times.
But what's it about?
Oh, maybe now it's not a good time.
But why not? When you were interns, you went out every Sunday to woo a girl, and you presented yourselves at her house with fake names.
With fake names?
Yes, Ricardo played a doctor.
Ah, yes, a doctor.
Tell us the whole story.
Oh, but we...
I actually recall it very well. A woman part gold digger, part stuck up, part wench.
That's it.
Well, I'm reliving my role as the sappy young lover who faked the most nauseating, sugar-coated love to stoke the damsel's dormant passions, to bring her to heartbreak. It was a tragic comic episode in which Ricardo wanted to play the victim, led by his naive teenage impulse. He didn't know he was bordering on an abyss. Who surrounded him, the evil that lurked, that tormented everyone and plunged into the most incredible confusion. The woman was like a serpent, devious and agile and fickle. To track her, one had to use her own tricks and follow her in the mud.
Ricardo never told us about that. How did it end?
I don't. I've just told you a story that may have never even happened.
I assure you, she's changed a lot. She's not the same Blanca as before.
Your ideas, mujer. Just waiting to Ricardo gets home, you'll see.
For example, yesterday, we begged her to stay and eat with us, but she didn't want to. At night, despite having promised to come, she excused herself. Enrique was at her house, and when he returned, he brought us news that she wants to leave for a while.
Where's she going?
To a nearby town where her Aunt Mercedes lives.
And what's peculiar about that?
A lot. You have to know this girl the way I do to tell that something is going on.
Well, there's nothing we can do.
Why don't you ask Enrique?
To you, everything is Enrique. You don't give him a moment's rest. He must be bored stiff with such rude impoliteness.
He's a very amiable young man.
Thank you. Oh, it's a bad habit that I haven't been able to break. I must seem like a spoiled schoolboy. I hope that you'll forgive me and pardon for my frankness.
And since you heard the whole conversation, what is your opinion?
I only heard the end, nothing more, I assure you. And in that, you are wrong. Doña Alicia would deprive me of a real pleasure if she didn't need me.
You see, Joaquin?
We were talking about Blanca.
Oh, yes? Well, I know that today she's written a letter.
To who?
I don't know. But when a woman like Blanca decides to write a letter, something serious must be going on.
You're worrying me.
Why?
It's occurred to her to think of 1,000 awful possibilities. She actually thinks that Blanca has changed, that she's not the same as before.
A woman like Blanca needs to continually renew the reasons for her interest.
Isn't it true that she's changed a lot?
Maybe. And did you always work so much, Mr. Joaquin?
I have a lot of work, yes.
But the mere contemplation of your family is already an overwhelming job. The weight of happiness requires an ironclad health,
Thank God we're very happy.
as are those who recognize their greatest longing and their most bearable opposition.
What opposition?
The law of compensation requires that happiness always be followed by a sequel of discomfort. And humans can only hope that the former is so complete that we can easily accept the latter.
Getting back to Blanca.
Yeah, well, why don't we wait for her to arrive so we can talk to her?
And is she coming?
Very soon, I assure you.
Fortunately, tomorrow we'll have Ricardo with us.
Oh, I'm so disappointed I will not be able to wait for him.
Oh, have you decided to leave today?
I'm obligated to.
Our matter so urgent and demanding.
Very much so. As if my life depended on them.
Life.
Yes, miss, and with all humility, I confess I'd like to live a few more years.
And when will we have the pleasure of seeing you again?
I will try to be back for Claudia's wedding.
The wedding? Have they already set a date?
Perhaps I spoke too soon. I suspect they want to keep the news a
I'm
secret.
confused. Clarita must communicate these things to her parents before anyone else.
It's an innocent lover's whim.
And has Antonio decided?
Apparently.
That's odd. Yesterday he told me he was waiting for the results of the business deal before agreeing on a date.
So I suppose you already know.
But we haven't formed the corporation yet. Precisely this afternoon I have a meeting with Calvo to define the terms of the contract.
I forgot. Mr. Calvo called and apologized. An urgent matter prevents him from attending the meeting.
And we'll postpone it for another day.
Afraid so.
So they can still make a deal. And Antonio resigned from his job?
No, ma'am. As you've just heard, the matter has been postponed. And I'm glad. Mr. Joaquin needs rest. He looks exhausted.
Me?
Oh, poor thing. You worked so much.
You know what I'd do if I were you?
What?
I'd go to the village where Ricardo is staying and oblige him to stay with you a while. That way, he ends his relaxing retreat as you begin yours.
Very well thought out.
And it's a sacrifice, I know, but your health and preserving your health.
But my health?
You're right, Enrique. You must go and rest for a few days.
The company will communicate the most important matters from the office daily, so you can relax.
But that's the way I read.
You'll forgive me for acting in a role that isn't my own. You know I do it out of my tremendous love for you.
How thankful we are for you.
I understand that Mr. Joaquin is afraid to be away from his business, given its nature. But in the end, everything can be arranged. The village is not very far, and in the event of an emergency, you could come on the express.
Yes. Yes!
And since Antonio knows your activities so thoroughly, in his off hours, he could carefully review them.
Yes, Antonio.
He would be delighted.
Surely.
You know, it's true. I have been feeling a bit tired lately. I didn't mention it so you wouldn't worry, honey.
Oh, such foolishness.
Well, since we are all in agreement, it would be timely for you to send a telegram to Ricardo. Remember that now he'll be preparing for his return trip.
Yes, I would do that. Excuse me.
Go. Go, go, go. Enrique. Is it true about Antonio and Clara?
I don't know. Secrets are to know and forget.
Answer me seriously, it made me so happy.
And I do not feel bad for having been indiscreet.
You're so good!
Happy is the man whose defects are unknown.
How did you convince him?
Who?
Antonio!
I didn't have any part in that play. Love has done it all. There is nothing extraordinary about two people in love deciding to get married.
But you undoubtedly influenced them.
Only by introducing them to a carpenter who makes beautiful, affordable furniture.
Oh my god!
Master Timothy is his name. He's a genius in all aspects, even patience. He monitors efficiently to ensure that he fulfills his commitment on time.
Enrique.
I'm going to ask you a favor. Will you deny me?
No.
Even if it seems absurd.
Yes.
Since it is my last day here and we are alone, do you want to stop calling me Enrique?
Then what am I going to call you?
Complemento?
What?
Complemento,
What a strange whim.
isn't it? But it pleases me to hear you say it.
Good. Complemento.
Thank you.
And can I ask you something?
No.
I don't suppose you've prepared a farce for me?
Oh, yes.
And you answer. How ironic.
So you won't be surprised.
What's it about?
It's not time to reveal it yet. I forgot. I have another favor, and this one will be the last.
What is it?
When they talk bad about me after I've left, think of Enrique Gutierrez. And when they remember me fondly, think of Complemento.
Why the air of mystery?
It's part of my farce.
Oh, you're crazy.
I must seem like a kid.
Oh, you're incorrigible.
Hey, don't laugh at me. I knew you when you were single.
What a thought.
I'm very old.
Yes, my son's classmate.
I started studying at a very advanced age.
And what is the secret to your eternal youth?
Since Ricardo was born,
What are you going to say now?
I started loving him. My friendships are born from the cradle. You'll see if our companionship is old.
And at birth he said your name?
I remember when he had scarlet fever, and I joined the effort to get him to take the remedy.
I'm very thankful.
Later in school, 7 years together, like brothers.
He told us about you when he was home on vacations.
The pleasure of freedom was always weighted by the weight of separation.
He felt the same way.
My greatest wish is for Ricardo to be happy,
I'm sure.
and I can achieve that by seemingly strange means.
What are they?
Well, a young man like him, with such a good nature and unspoiled spiritual resources, he can bounce back from a fleeting disappointment.
Disappointment.
Yes, life is full of surprises.
That's for certain, Enrique.
Hey, don't forget your promise. Complemento.
Complemento.
There. Oh, did you see that little critter? Oh, they're terrible. They get everything dirty.
Yes, they fly all over the place.
Now, if only we could catch it.
Oh, there it goes. It's jumped towards the library. If you excuse me, I'm gonna go get the fly swatter. These bugs have got to go.
Well, I'll wait for you until then, Doña Alicia.
I'll be back.
You come alone?
Yes,
And Clara?
she'll be here in a moment.
You have a very serious air about you. Did something happen?
Yes,
What?
read this letter.
Okay, let's see. My dearest Antonio, I pack my bags to fly to your side. The day after tomorrow, I will have the pleasure of hugging you. Should I continue reading this? Is it necessary for me to know who you'll be hugging the day after tomorrow?
Read the next paragraph.
My friend Enrique Gutierrez has asked me the favor of sending him a book that he needs urgently. And to avoid delays, and since there aren't any good bookstores in this village, I ask that you buy it and mail it to the following address.
Who are you?
At this moment, no one.
I'm not in the mood for jokes.
I don't believe that this is an occasion for joking.
Who are you?
I repeat, at this moment, no one.
My patience is running out.
That's very respectable, but I can't tell you anything else. I'm in one of those decisive moments in life where, having lost one identity as I've gotten used to, I seek another, as though shipwrecked. The first one I find to hide behind as though I were naked under the skin.
Who are you?
The Duke of Windsor.
The antics are over. I'm going to expose you in front of everyone.
Even if I told you my real name, you wouldn't believe that either.
What is your name?
Gabriel Perez,
What are you doing here?
answering your interrogation.
Why did you come into this house with a false name? What did you come here to do?
Please pardon me. Would you have enough patience to answer me one question? For my part, I've responded to all that you've asked me. So in return, before you unmask me, allow me to come up with just one.
Speak.
What would you have said to me if you had received that letter?
I don't know. The only thing I want to know now are your intentions. What made you pass off as Enrique Gutierrez?
Please excuse me, but if I'm not mistaken, I asked you a question.
Let's get this over with.
What would you have said? What would your first impulse have been if that letter hadn't come into your possession? Or if you'd received it tomorrow after I'd left? Would it be equally important to know that I am not Enrique Gutierrez once he disappeared and only a memory of him remained? Just an image without a name. And the imprints of his acts whose consequences will arise every day as a testimony to his sinless intention? Is it really a desire for justice, a fear of danger that compels you as the Inquisitor? Or rather, is it a matter of avenging your low self-esteem, temporarily wounded by a deception you didn't know about? What does it matter if my name is Enrique Gutierrez or Gabriel Perez or Napoleon? What do my identities or my reasons for coming to this house matter? Am I perhaps more? Has my presence been beneficial or not? That is what you must decide before continuing this half-hearted confrontation. To worry more about certain reasons than the effects, you must be sure that you can modify the former as such that the latter takes place according to your wishes. Don't behave like a child. You understand that Blanca and Alicia, upon receiving one of those letters, will be carried away by a more or less theatrical impulse. They will imagine ridiculous stories of Apaches, of assaults, robberies. But you, with your poise, your conservative moderation, the way you see things from all angles, no, it's crazy. I suffer a cruel disappointment.
But
There are facts that appear before us so unexpectedly, so rarely, and on such easy terms, that the most basic sense of caution, the slightest selfishness, advises us to refrain from inquiring into their origin out of fear for undermining the results. You are in love. Do not forget that. And when you suffer from that illness, you have to believe as much as possible and accept the absurd.
The state of love is like the state of grace. It demands an act of faith and a miracle of hope.
Clara,
Complemento.
Have you learned the vice of eavesdropping?
Yes.
you knew?
Enrique Gutierrez is going to leave this afternoon. Don't forget.
And,
Why
and
did you
Mr.
tell-
Joaquin has decided to take a few days of rest, so he's leaving you in charge of his affairs.
But
The company remains postponed indefinitely. You'll have to dedicate your leisure time to keeping an eye on your future father-in-law's interests.
Who are you?
Be quiet. You'll find out later.
Why not now? There will be 3 of us to guard the secret. It is so important that the force of our united will is needed.
Complemento.
Do you hear it? The joke continues.
You'll have to explain.
I suppose I'm still invited to the wedding?
Of course.
It's such a beautiful day. Would you cut some flowers for me in the garden?
I'll see you later.
We have many things yet to talk about, Antonio.
Enrique?
Thank you. Huh. Well, I don't know where to begin.
I beg you to explain this mess to me.
One night after your honeymoon, you'll say to your wife, finally, that Enrique Gutierrez, who wasn't actually Enrique Gutierrez, who you called Complemento that one time, who the hell was that? And she'll reply, Complemento, yes, yes. And now there are other motives for our interview. But before we start, will you excuse me for just a minute? I will be right back.
Good morning, Antonio. Anyone would say Enrique fled when he saw me coming.
Hi Blanca, how are you?
What's happening?
Nothing.
Strange look.
bit stunned. I learned. I've heard a very unlikely story.
What?
It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
I come to say goodbye.
But you just got here?
Yes, but I'm leaving early tomorrow morning to visit my aunt.
And you're not going to wait for Ricardo's return?
No. I wrote to him today to tell him of my trip.
Ah. Ugh.
For God's sake, say something!
Me?
Yes! Why are you silent like an idiot?
That's precisely my situation. I am an idiot. I don't comprehend things. I don't understand anything, and nevertheless, I feel like everything is going according to my wishes. I never thought there would be moments when it's nice to recognize one's own idiocy.
What are you saying?
Pardon me. The way you were leaving.
Yes.
Well, everyone's leaving. Enrique leaves this afternoon. Mr. Joaquin leaves tomorrow.
Mr. Joaquin.
Yes. Enrique was telling Clara and I that he decided to take some days off.
But how could he decide that when he's convinced that his presence in the office is necessary at all times? Work will suffer.
Ah, strange indeed.
Definitely. Something's going on here. There is an invisible hand that's pleased to upset life in this house.
You think so too?
Has the business already been formed?
No, it's been postponed, perhaps indefinitely. The economic situation is unfavorable, and Enrique was telling us
Yes,
precisely.
yes, I can already imagine what Enrique was telling you. And on purpose. Do you know why he ran when I arrived?
No, he said he wanted to talk about a lot of things, and before starting, he asked me to excuse him for a moment.
So your project has definitely been given up.
By who? By me?
Yes, you.
Forgive me. It's that sometimes you talk about Enrique, and sometimes about me. It's getting hard to follow.
Project you had developed so much and had such high hopes for.
Well, it's not that. It's
Just because Enrique told you.
Well, that's not the only reason. There's other factors that make postponing advisable.
And the wedding too?
We're getting married soon.
You are.
It's been set. We've chosen a date.
When?
I can't tell you yet. I promised Clara to keep it a secret.
And will you continue at your current job?
Yes. Lately I've been performing quite satisfying work in the office.
So all your dreams of independence.
I am independent. I perform a job autonomously, and every day I become more and more indispensable at work.
No more ideas, plans, bold combinations.
It's not that. It's
Good morning, Blanca.
Why did you run away when I arrived?
Run away. Not at all. I went to see Mr. Joaquin and sent an urgent telegram to Ricardo.
To Ricardo, has something happened?
No, Mr. Joaquin will string along with his son for a few days. Ricardo will extend his vacation. Parents must be at their children's sides when the morale takes a hit.
Has something happened to Ricardo?
I'm afraid that very soon he'll suffer a cruel disappointment.
Is Clarita in her room?
No, in the garden. Mr. Joaquin is commissioned to tell me.
Oh, no. The adventure of Enrique Gutierrez is one of no importance, believe me.
The adventure.
We've had time to talk about that, you and I. Oh, here comes Mr. Joaquin.
Everything is ready. Buenos dias, Blanquita.
They tell me you're taking a trip, Mr. Joaquin.
Yes, I've decided to take a few vacation days. I'll be joining Ricardo. Antonio, I'm entrusting you with taking care of the office. You know the deals I have pending very well. I'll leave relaxed, but only if you promise to watch after them every day.
It'll be my pleasure to serve you, Mr. Joaquin.
Blanca, do you have something you'd like me to tell Ricardo?
I've already written it, sir. Since I didn't know about your trip, I put the letter in the mail.
And are you still visiting your tia Mercedes?
Yes.
It's a general disbanding. But I think the couple likes the solitude they're gonna get.
You wanted to talk to me about the thing you mentioned.
Let's not hinder them, Blanquita. Should we go find Alicia and Clara?
Let's go.
I'm at your service.
This change in attitude is strange.
I can't explain it myself.
Just a moment ago, you spoke to me in an intense tone, and after intervention with Clara, you calmed down a bit. But now you present to me as a timid child, fearful.
Hey, don't think that
Don't think that I've said this to get back at you or to provoke a useless reaction. On the contrary, I'm looking to reach a frank understanding, because I respect you. And in reality, you are the reason I came to this house.
Me?
Find that strange? I don't intend to get into detailed explanations, which you'll receive later to your thorough satisfaction, I guarantee you. But rather, I want to leave in your mind the conviction that you have found the change in your life through timely reflections, certain concessions in your vanity, an effort to isolate your hostile surroundings, but above all, owing to your making the admirable discovery of the treasure that your heart conquered. You have returned to the well of your happiness, leaving behind a dangerous path of an uncontrollable fantasy, a life without foresight. In this work, I've been an occasional tool, always situated at the right angle, playing devil's advocate, systematically studying at which points the facts become the absurd, and to make them seem logical in this family circle. And when it was time to abandon that counterpoint, to join forces with those who began to surrender their noble nature. I know you have the burning desire to ask me who put you up to this, who gave you the right to mix yourself up in my life. It wasn't someone, it was something. The cold. These nights have cooled down a lot, and maybe you haven't noticed, but when you spend them outdoors, you become as sensitive as a thermometer.
Who are you?
Here goes. My name is Gabriel Perez, a typographer by profession and unemployed for 15 days. Injustices of a boss who couldn't understand my point of view on the corrections that should be made to an article titled The Economic Crisis. Bosses are so stupid.
Very.
Well, I'm glad we're in agreement, because I have more experience in this than you in telling you that I have worked at almost every printer in the region, and I haven't been able to last at any of them for longer than 3 months. I always fall victim to the heavy cobblestones that bosses carry around in their heads. They don't understand that a typographer is not a machine for aligning letters, but an alert intelligence in continuous activity who guesses through what authors say in their writing, or what they wanted to say, or what they would have wanted to say if they knew the topics they deal with.
It's complicated.
Terribly. And yet, in an honorable way, thanks to this periodic unemployment, I've been able to cultivate my skills as an observer. I've learned to know men by their shadow, for what they are, or what they lack.
Ah.
They call me Complemento. My work here is done. I've tried to repay the hospitality I've received in the best way. But for the purposes of the immediate future, have any spare change in your pocket? Oh, no, that's enough. Thank you. And do me the favor of delivering this letter to Clarita. Farewell, Antonio. I'll be back for the wedding.
But you're leaving?
Yes, tell everyone I said goodbye.
Enrique, listen,
Thank you. If you ever meet Enrique Gutierrez, tell him his name was not sullied by this adventure. Farewell, Antonio.
Complemento,
I've been waiting a long time for you, Antonio.
Here are the flowers for Enrique.
But I don't see him.
It's almost time to say
Oh,
goodbye.
his bags are ready. I checked them myself.
Antonio, why won't you answer me?
forgive me. Yes, the flowers are very beautiful.
Where is Enrique?
Enrique, I don't know.
He was here a minute ago.
Yes, you two had an issue to talk about, and that's why we left you alone?
Are you sure there had been an Enrique in this house?
Antonio.
What are you saying?
Are you going to start joking around like Enrique too?
Why do you think they're jokes, ma'am?
Because not long ago, Enrique told me that precisely when he left and we remembered him fondly, he'd rename his image.
What name?
What was it? Ah, Complemento!
Complemento.
Well, he got his wish.
¿Pero qué es lo que sucede?
Enrique Gutierrez was never in this house, Mr. Joaquin.
Have you become a complete idiot?
This morning I received a letter from Enrique, and he asked for a book. He said that I received a letter from Ricardo, and he asked that I send him a book from here.
Then,
Sure.
who? Joaquin.
Enrique Gutierrez, he wasn't in this house ever.
Who was here?
You've had Gabriel Perez as a house guest.
And who is that?
The man who was posing as Enrique Gutierrez.
An adventurer? A murderer?
A friend?
The best of friends.
Whose friend? And where did he go? Explain yourselves, please! Since when do we let strangers come into my house under assumed names and stay here for entire weeks at a time without us knowing who they are?
Well, what difference does it make? We had company who brought great joys and welcomed peace and quiet. Why investigate his name now? We may never know it.
What does Gabriel Perez do?
He studies shadows.
You're going to make me lose my mind. Enrique Gutierrez has never been here?
Yeah, apparently not.
I've said it several times.
Why investigate his
No,
name now?
no, no. I will clear this up. I'm calling the police.
Has anything bad happened? Have you lost anything?
Someone's coming into homes under false names and I'm supposed to just not do nothing?
And what about it?
And he worries about everyone's well-being.
Yeah, that won't be the only purpose that brought this Mr. Perez.
Well, you better check the silverware. Something might be missing.
And my business might it have been to know the inner workings of the important affairs I handle.
Has he asked you about those details even once?
No, but
While you thought he was Enrique Gutierrez, you had such faith that you decided to take a vacation that you haven't wanted to take in years.
Enrique Gutierrez is a very distinguished lawyer.
It was just a name.
Yes,
Dad,
but
it's time to catch the train.
who's thinking about travel?
You are, because if you don't go, we'll all think that you don't trust Antonio, who is going to protect your interests.
Our daughter is right.
And go ahead and forget all about Enrique Gutierrez, Dad. Instead, since you're a grateful man, think of Complemento.
Complemento.
Complemento!
Scoundrel!
Thank you for coming.
Antonio gave me your letter. We read it together. He said I should come.
Oh, I expected nothing less of him.
I thought you were leaving today.
I don't know yet. There are still night trains. Did you want to sit down?
The bench is taken, and I can't stay long. Mom is alone.
This rendezvous must seem strange.
Knowing you has taught me not to be surprised at anything.
I just wanted to say goodbye to you alone in the same place we met.
Why didn't you want to say goodbye to all of us back at the house?
I want everyone to keep a good impression of me.
In this way, it's been
And Blanca,
Yes.
what did she say?
We were commenting about your disappearance and your identity when all of a sudden she broke out crying. She said, "Scoundrel!" and she went running off. After that, it was impossible to get her to talk.
Scoundrel's a rather harsh word.
Did you do something to her?
Plenty. I revived her ambition. Let's talk about something else. You want to?
Is it true what Antonio told me?
What?
That you're out of work right now?
That's a little exaggeration. I have a full workload at all hours. I'm like Mr. Joaquin.
But you're not at the printing press anymore.
No, but I love change. And that's why I've decided to move to another town for a change of scenery. And so when I move away, all my friends will always love me.
It must be the other way around. I wish you were always with us.
That's very dangerous. When you get married, you'll understand that the only acceptable company is the person that you're in love with.
And this new town, have you secured a job there?
Oh, in such a big city, there'll always be a place for a person as small as me. Plus, I have many connections there.
So you've been there before?
Never.
Never.
No, but that's minor. Remember how I met you?
before I knew you.
It's an advantage that lets me know who I could be friends with and who I must avoid.
I brought you a little gift.
Thank you. What is it?
Oh, biscuits for the trip.
Delicious. I'll eat all of them.
Mom made them.
For me?
No, she doesn't know I brought them.
Better still. Thank you so much.
And you're not planning to work?
Oh, yes. But the place where I'll work is not important. It'll be an ugly, dark, annoying place. Kind of prison. A letter from you, for example, can never arrive at such a place. The words on it would rebel and escape like wild birds through the pores of the envelope.
So I won't be able to write.
We're continually conversing.
How?
Once in a while, take a walk through this park. Sit on that bench and tell me your troubles. The most problematic ones, if you have any. In any case, greet me. Remember me. Who knows? Maybe I'll be listening like the other day without your suspecting it.
I will come.
Goodbye.
You're leaving?
No, you are. It's late. Mom is alone.
Goodbye. Complemento.
Goodbye. You didn't come today either?
No.
Don't panic, miss.
Who are you?
I'm a friend.
No, sir, you're mistaken. I don't know you.
Oh, yes, you know me. You just don't remember me.
Perhaps.
Here, dry your tears. It's a clean handkerchief. Take it. It's yours. There. Let's see. Smile. You can do it.
I can't. I'm too sad.
You didn't come today either.
No. And he promised me that he'd be here at 5.
Well, unbelievable. Making such a pretty woman cry.
Thank you. This is the second time he's left me waiting.
No. Promise me you won't go on crying. And I'll tell you something you like very much.
What?
That you're very beautiful.
Don't make fun.
And another thing even more interesting.
What?
That it's the last time that he'll leave you waiting.
How do you know?
We're very good friends. I guard his secrets.
Yeah. You're Martin Cifuentes?
No?
Martin Cifuentes is the best friend.
My best friend?
No, Felipe.
Ah, Felipe. Yes. But I am too, since he was very little.
Yes.
Yes, we went to school together.
What's your name?
Me? Yes.
Wait a minute. So Felipe has told me about Cifuentes and about Diego Burgos, but you're not Burgos because I've seen him in the newspapers and he's older and has a mustache.
A mustache? Oh no, I am not one to have a mustache.
I know! Arturo Medina!
Arturo Medina! Of course, Arturo Medina. Who's he?
Well, you.
No.
I give up.
I'm sure Felipe has never spoken of me.
Why?
Because he doesn't know who I am.
Huh? But just a moment ago you assured me you were his best friend.
And that's true. We have a very special friendship. Hasn't it ever happened to you that you meet someone and get along with her so closely and have such similar tastes that only after a few moments of conversation you say to yourself, feels like I've known her for years.
Yes. That happened to me with Berta.
You see? The same thing happened with me and Felipe. We're very good friends, only he doesn't know who I am.
And you don't know who he is either.
Oh, yes.
What's he like?
Very handsome,
Yes.
very intelligent,
Yes.
very friendly.
Yes. Tall or short?
And those details aren't important. But what I can guarantee is that he'll never leave you waiting again.
If only it were true.
You can be sure of it. When Felipe was very small, he was absent-minded, like now. He forgot to study his lessons and do his homework, so teacher punished him. It's only natural. Teachers were made to punish students, and in the process, teach them things that they should forget about as soon as possible. His punishment consisted of being sent to a room by himself. But I accompanied him. I played with him. I changed myself into a crystal ball, or a spinning top, or a story written in a pocketbook.
And how did you do that?
It's very easy. When someone is so small, they look so much like a toy. Do you remember in your house, they used to say you were a little doll? You were barely 3 years old, and you were running through all the rooms like a little devil with your purposely short dress and that big spear of ribbon on your head.
So you saw me?
Naturally, we're old friends. But I seem to have forgotten your name. It's been such a long time. I'm trying to remember. It's
Elvira
Well, of course, Elvira. Elvira what?
Sanchez.
That's right, Elvira Sanchez. Oh, I remember your father so well, Mr. Sanchez.
Yes. Poor Dad.
Oh, yes, yeah. Poor man. What a pity.
Surely you know all the details.
Some of them.
Oh, it was so painful.
Can't imagine how sorry I was for him.
Thank you. But now he's much better.
Oh, I hope he's cured soon.
The doctors say within a few days he'll be in rehabilitation.
You don't know how happy that makes me. And will he come to the park for some fresh air?
No, not until they give him a wheelchair.
Ah, and they haven't given him one yet?
It'll be very soon. And then I'll bring him every afternoon.
You seem like a mother to your father.
Yeah, that's what I said. So then you knew us.
Oh, and how? I followed your whole life step by step. Your first communion, the awards at school, your first party, your first love,
The only one?
the last one.
And why haven't we ever spoken?
I didn't know where to find you.
What?
You see, we are childhood companions, friends for life. And we've never crossed paths. We've never glanced at each other. I couldn't sense your presence.
You're making fun of me.
Think I'm capable of being so cruel?
Who are you?
Do you insist on knowing?
Naturally, I don't like talking to strangers.
That's too bad. They're the only ones that can tell you something new.
What's your name?
Complemento.
What?
Complemento.
Complemento.
Well, this laughing is a lot nicer than the sad crying a moment ago, isn't it?
Tell me your name.
Only if you promise to laugh again.
I promise.
Complemento.
No, tell me.
But that's what they call me. That's what my friends call me.
Ah,
I help absent-minded children to remember that their girlfriends are waiting for them on a park bench. And I help anxious young ladies as they watch the restless sleep of a sick father. I change the deep sob of an angry love into the fresh smile of hope.
complemento.
Never felt my presence hidden nearby when your trivial childhood punishments pushed you to confide and vent? How many times you told me your most intimate secrets, thinking you were talking to yourself? But I'm very reserved, and I guard them within the most hidden part of myself.
How curious. I'm sure I have never seen you before, Mr. Complemento, and nonetheless, you inspire my confidence. And your words, they're so familiar to me.
Then would you believe me if I told you that I could help erase the pain of love?
What?
Felipe will not leave you abandoned anymore. And since you love each other so much, everything will be so easy to fix. You can be sure of it.
And what should I do?
Oh, a very small thing. Well, first of all, take me into your service.
My service.
Yes. We'll make a contract, but without all the stamped and sealed papers and signatures. We'll make a contract out of eye contact. Now look me in the eye. Further inside, where the images of your childhood are printed. And I will look through yours, through the flashes of hope, beyond the gleams of faith, and into the distant well of sincerity. And now, let's say, without moving our lips, let's make a double promise that you will believe in me. Put your trust in my loyalty, and I will help you. I will be the complement to your boyfriend and everything he needs to understand the joy of being loved by an angel. It is done.
Are you joking or serious?
Joking. If I were serious, I'd fail.
And I'm such a fool, I thought that.
That you really thought that I was capable of doing all that?
For a moment. You speak with such conviction.
Enough to convince you that I can perform miracles?
They wouldn't be miracles.
That's true, isn't it?
Yes.
They're very common.
Mhm.
So, there's nothing extraordinary about two people in love deciding to go on loving each other, and for a distracted young man to stop being that way,
Clearly.
and for a naive and sensitive girl to overcome obstacles that for calculating and expert women would be insurmountable.
What women?
Many of them.
But Felipe!
Who's talking about Felipe?
I panicked.
For God's sakes, calm those nerves, or you'll suffer a lot in this life.
I'm such a fool.
And so good.
Thank you.
So are we in agreement then?
About what?
The contract. Do you regret what was said?
So it wasn't a joke?
That's not important. You said for yourself that it's not very difficult. Let's make it a joke. Maybe it'll turn out well.
Okay.
And will you keep it a secret?
Yes.
And not telling Felipe or Dad or anyone?
Trust me. But what exactly are we going to do? You've told me so many things that now I can't keep the idea straight in my head.
Do you remember my name?
Complemento.
Yes. Yes, that's what they call me. Because I try to get used to existing not for myself, but for others. In this world, somebody should commit to others without it implying sainthood or martyrdom. Just a small effort to turn vanity into the triumph of your fellow man. Tell me you believe me. Tell me that you trust me without moving your lips. Let your eyes respond. Accept this strange adventure because you feel the state of love.
Complemento would like to present our creative team with a token of our appreciation. So we invite those members of our team with the understanding that our beautiful sound and lighting designer is busy calling our show at the booth. And our scenic designer, Jay, cannot be with us here tonight, but we do have some flowers for our lovely director, Sarah O'Connell, our playwright, Gigi Guisado.
Come on down.